My divine, incredible Crystar family, are you ready for a week to maybe breathe a little bit more? Maybe kind of rest, relax, feel a little bit more flow, tranquility, and ease? I really feel this next week is going to bring a bit of this for us as we look at our weekly spiral report. This one is for the week of September 28th, and we're moving into October. As we're looking at this energy, we're still in the beautiful Virgo energy that we are getting to ground and be in that beautiful earth energy with. And as we look at this week, the biggest energy that we're really going to be playing with is something called the bifurcation period. Now, this is something that happens every time around this time of the year, where it's really a moment where we can almost feel ourselves shedding away the old, letting the old begin to fall away, peel away, let it go, so that as we let that go, as we go into our womb time, as we go deeper and deeper through into fall and eventually into winter, we start to find ourselves going inward as we move closer into the galactic alignments. We already had our big first galactic alignment last week, which was in connection to the super galactic center. We're going to have other ones starting to pop up as we start to move into alignment with the great attractors. We start to move into alignment with the galactic center itself. Those are going to be more closer to December time, the end of November into December. But we've already had our taste of that energy coming out of the equinox. So this last week was really our time of where we, embracing what we put into manifestation through that manifestation window of the equinox window. And how is that going for you? How are you initiating now the things you put into motion? Are you still holding it? Are you still taking actionable steps every single day? Those little steps that are moving you towards the greater goals as they compound into something more. This is really important for us to really lock into, because now we're going to step into this next week bifurcation period, which is gonna go for a couple weeks. But what this energy is again, it's like, what are the old characters that you've been playing in this life that just aren't really working for you anymore? Where do you have maybe habits or thought forms or maybe identities of self that you're just like, I've been hanging on to that for a while, but it's not fitting with the future version of myself that I'm choosing to be? This is a perfect time. So as we look at this, let's go ahead and look at some of the key energy that we're going to be playing with. Again, it's a much softer week this next week as we get to move into October. There's a few changes, but for the most part, it's not much different than anything we've already been dealing with. So let's just take a peek with this. I'm going to take us through this while we look at the charts so that we can have a bit of a visual within here. As we begin to start the energy for the week, we're going to see that the key things that we have is Sun is going to be within the gate 18. It actually just moved into the gate 18. It moved in on Friday, so this is actually something we're already starting to feel. This is going to be a splenic center energy. This is going to impulse us towards correcting things, what needs to be fine-tuned. We want to make sure that we're not overly analyzing things, but really just feeling the divine nudge that is moving us towards how do we flow more energy of joy into our life, because that's the gate it wants to connect into as a channel on the human design chart, is the gate 18 to the gate 58 of joy. So the Sun is going to be floating through there for most of the week. It's not in an alignment to any fixed stars, but as you get to feel that vibrational energy within there, you're going to get to see, let me just move this so we have more room. You're going to get to see that no stars is actually going to be good for a little bit, no particular alignments. But towards the end of the week, as we start to move towards the gate, moving into the gate 48, we're going to start to be moving into those Corvus stars. And Corvus is a very interesting star system to be in alignment with because it tends to bring up the things that have been buried in the deep that need to be brought forward in order for us to learn forgiveness and to embrace our empowerment within and let go of all sense of inadequacy, because that's the gate 48. The gate 48, if you read it within the Gene Keys, it is the depth. It is the place that holds the deepest shadow within all 64 Gene Keys, but it is also the place where you actually learn to trust, like a free fall of trust into the universe. So I actually really love the gate 48 because even though it's very challenging, it actually shows us where we learn to balance right use of power in our life. So that's the big energy within there. The moon's going to be moving through the gate 11 to the gate 63. So as we're going to see it, it's just going to be kind of moving through the energy past the galactic center energy, through Ophiuchus, Sagittarius, Capricorn energy. And as we get to play with that vibrational energy, it is something that we're going to see is actually holding a lot of root center energy. And I will show that in another graph in just a moment. So the moon is very special because this is kind of our breathing week. We already had our new moon. This is going to be the next week or the second week after the new moon. And then our next full moon is going to be on Monday, the 6th. So we'll get to talk about that in the next report. But again, enjoy getting to breathe a little bit this next week as we get to feel the impulse and honestly the moon moving through a lot of splenic center, pardon me, root center energy is going to allow us to actually feel that impulse of, yeah, let's get some stuff done. Let's really actually kind of maybe clean up, do some organizing. Maybe you've been needing to organize or clean out a closet. Maybe you've been wanting to go clean out the garage before winter comes and you need to change the equipment in there. Maybe you need to like start to clean up your yard as you maybe prepare it in the fall for winterizing your winter. You can tell I live in a very cold area, so these are the things that we're going to be doing. But just recognizing what is it maybe that you've been going like, man, I've been putting that off, and it's time to kind of tackle that, clean that up. Let's get that cleaned up so it feels really good. So some of the key things as I'm still sitting on this particular chart wheel here, I wanted to highlight Chiron and Aries. These are still in conjunction to the Eridanus, so very much initiation energy. And this is still holding within the gate 42 vibration within there. We also have Mars in Haumea, and I'm going to just show it as the week goes. So as we move through the 7-day period of our next week, you're going to see they're actually really significantly separating away from each other. So we're letting go of that energy of these two that have been kind of shaking things up a bit. And the gate 28 is where Mars is sitting. But one of the things I want to kind of show you within here is that from basically all week, this is the last week that Mars is going to be in that square to Pluto, which is sitting down here at the very end. So you can see kind of this square that it's been sitting in for a bit is going to let up at the very end of the week. So within that, that's going to feel really good. It's going to be that energy where Mars is bringing us in a connection to G Crux, which is going to be really just divine law. As we look at kind of like the cross energy of where can we start to embrace divinity, divine law. Pluto is challenging us in a lot of ways through the connection to Altair, is challenging us to really hold the sacred foundations of really holding our divine 12 tree grid of life, our Kathara blueprint in place. Don't let yourself bend out of your sacred geometry for anything. There's no new advancement on earth. There's no new technology. There's no secret magic thing or anything out there that will ever be better than flowing with the sacred geometry of creation. That is one of the beautiful energies to see within there. The last couple alignments that I wanted to show in here is up here on the right, top right, is going to be Uranus and Sedna. These are still in the gate 20. very much still in conjunction to the Pleiades. This is going to be holding on for a while within that Taurus energy. Think of it as another earth energy that's really kind of giving us an inspiration to be grounded within our true self. That really, when we ground into that, it doesn't matter what changes are happening on the planet, you will always be grounded within yourself. So it doesn't matter if a big solar energy is coming through. It doesn't matter if they're blasting frequencies. It doesn't matter what is happening in the collective of everybody else's consciousness. When you are centered within yourself, the rest of the world can be tossing all over the place, and you can be in calm and peace and tranquility. And the beauty of this energy of the gate 20, of the gate of the now, is literally being in that 0 point field, the now moment, not being pulled by all these what ifs in creation. So the other thing that has been kind of a big energy is we're going to see Neptune and Saturn. They are in different gates right now, but the interesting thing is that Saturn's in retrograde, so it's pulling away from the gate 25 that Neptune's going to hold in there, and it's in the gate 36 right now. Saturn in the gate 36 is holding that kind of that transformational energy for us. It's going to continue retrograde. It's going to move for a little bit longer. And that retrograde is going to end at the end of November. So around November 27th is when that retrograde of Saturn is going to end before it decides to start moving back through. So we're going to have a lot of time that Saturn's going to be impulsing us with the gate 36 before it meets back up to the gate 25 with Neptune. Now, the interesting thing is that as these are doing this, they actually are in a square to the galactic center. So Neptune in the gate 25 is holding that square in there. So it is actually in some way all this dance of what they're doing to help us kind of step into a new spirituality of thought. They're helping us to step in to a beautiful way of how are we going to find a new way to be truly galactic citizens within planet Earth, that you get to recognize your star inheritance that you are, and that there isn't a need for you to keep trying to adhere to the chaos of the earth rules, but rather, how do you start to bring divine galactic omni love back to earth? This is some of the beautiful energy that we get to see. Now, I did want to show it just through this chart, just because I just like this chart and I think it's a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and move back into the 28th as we get to just kind of flow within here. And we're going to see there's Pluto sitting. It's also in that Capricorn energy in the true sky. So we got a lot of great earth grounding within here. And as we get to see the movement, we're just going to play with this just to see the dance of the stars. I don't know. I just want to share this with you really quick because I think it's so beautiful. So as we find ourselves moving through the week, we're going to see just kind of Venus starting to make its way. Next week is when Venus is actually going to start moving out of Leo, and it's going, I think it's around the 7th or the 8th, and we're actually going to have it starting to move here into Virgo. Now, I do wish the color changes were a little bit more distinct here for us to see it, because it kind of goes from green to lighter green to darker green. But it's Venus is going to now, as it's kind of moving into that energy of the South Node, is going to be moving into Virgo. So we're going to have a new womb oil activation coming up very soon to prepare for that. To make sure, for those of you that are working with the womb oils, have you been really connecting to that beautiful divine Leo, that fire, that rose oil, or that angelica oil that you've been playing with? Really just allowing yourself to see that. And then again, as we get to just look at this galactic energy that's moving over here, the moon is again moving through all of these vibrations. Let me move it to the 4th, and you're going to see it is going to actually dip in to the Aquarius energy, but let's just move it backwards to the very front. And we're going to move it here. So here we are actually at the 26th, 27th, 28th. Moving, starting the week in Ophiuchus, beginning to pass through the galactic center. And then the moon is going to take us through this little journey this next week as it moves in to Aquarius energy at the end of the week. Now, the last thing I want to just show for this week, let me just close this so that we can see nice and clear what we're looking at over here. And that is for us to get to see that the moon, as it moves through these particular gates, it's going to really be moving again primarily through the root chakra center. It's going to be dipping out of the energy of the realm of mutation and then back into initiation. It'll hit that when it hits 13 over here. 13 is the starting gate for moving into initiation over here. But the interesting thing is we got a couple that are up in the head, but for the most part, most of the dance starts to move through the root center. You can see almost all of them are activated through this initiation. And then at the end, as it's starting to move in to the very last gates right after the initiation, which is going to happen in your G center, your self-identity here, then it just clicks, boom, right over into the emotional solar plexus center. So if we were kind of going to look at the lunar energy for this month, because it really does move our moods that we're in, we're going to see that the week is going to start out with us having some energy to get some things done. As it really works with that, there's going to be some neat ways for you to really formulate it. The gate 10 is even going to come in there to a degree, kind of starting out at the beginning. It's going to give you that self-direction of how is this a beautiful energy for me to step into for myself, for what awakens within me. It's kind of the Buddha gate of self-awakening, self-liberation. And as you get to feel that energy, then it's going to click right into all that root center energy as you move, get some stuff cleaned out, get some stuff done. As we start to move towards the end of the week, as we start to prepare to move into that gate 48 with the sun, you're going to find yourself starting to feel that Corvus energy coming in. And then where are we going to feel that? A lot of that we're going to be feeling in the vibration of the emotional solar plexus center. So let yourself realize if it starts to get a little bit emotional or frustration or any of these things, don't let any of that get in the way of you recognizing that you're just cleaning things out. You're just making space and making room. What are you making room for? You're making room for you to step into your new highest version of yourself. As next week, we are going to have the full moon, and next week we are going to have Venus moving in to a new sign. So some big energy next week, but this week is kind of just take some time to get some things organized for yourself, in your heart, in your body, in your mind, in your spirit, in your home, maybe outside in the yard. Get some stuff done. With so much love, I hope this report helps you for this next week to really harness this energy. Take the time to really feel what aspects of yourself don't feel like they fit anymore, and what are the new ways you want to step out to be an expression in this world. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you next week in our next report.